The midday sun was blazing down on the small-town diner, casting sharp shadows across the parking lot where a lone figure moved slowly with her cane. Her name was Marissa Kane, a decorated veteran who had given everything for her country, including the full use of her right leg. She had learned to walk again, but the limp never left, nor did the memories of nights filled with pain and silence. On her jacket were faded patches that spoke of her service, and on her chest hung a necklace given to her by her unit before her last deployment. Yet in that moment she wasn't a soldier. She was just a woman, tired, hungry, and hoping for a quiet meal in a place where nobody looked at her with pity. But fate had other plans. Before we continue, if you believe in kindness, respect, and second chances, please take a moment to like this video, share it with someone you care about, and subscribe to Kindness Corner. Together we can spread stories that heal hearts and remind the world of the power of compassion. Marissa pushed open the diner door, the small bell above jingling softly. A few heads turned and most went back to their meals, but 3 men sitting near the back caught sight of her. They weren't just ordinary men. They were bikers dressed in leather vests with patches sewn across the back, laughter rolling loud and careless from their table. At first, Marissa ignored them. She had dealt with louder, tougher men before in deserts and war zones, and she had no interest in confrontation. She simply ordered a coffee and a sandwich, settling into a corner booth with her cane propped carefully beside her. But the bikers weren't done looking. Their voices carried across the diner, dripping with mockery as they nudged each other and whispered loud enough for everyone to hear. They imitated her limp, laughed about her scars, and called her weak. Marissa kept her head down, but her knuckles tightened around her coffee mug. She had faced fire, loss, and nights when she wondered if she would live to see the morning. Yet something about their cruelty, so needless, so heartless, cut deeper than the battlefield wounds ever had. The leader of the group, a tall, bald man covered in tattoos, finally stood and swaggered toward her table. He grinned down at her with a coldness that sent a shiver across the diner. He grabbed her jacket collar, tugging it slightly as though testing her strength, and smirked when he saw the military patch. He mocked her service, sneered at her cane, and told her she didn't belong in their town. Around them, silence fell. No one moved. A couple of waitresses froze behind the counter, clearly afraid of what might happen next. Marissa's eyes burned, but she didn't give him the satisfaction of a single tear. She sat tall, shoulders back, her voice steady even as her heart pounded. Deep inside, though, she felt small, broken, as if the years of fighting to stand tall again had been stripped away in just a few cruel words. The men laughed in her face, then shoved her shoulder, so she stumbled sideways against the booth. His friends roared with approval, banging on the tables like it was entertainment. Outside, the roar of engines approached. A convoy of motorcycles and trucks pulled into the diner's lot, dust rising into the hot afternoon air. The bikers inside didn't notice at first, but the waitresses did. Their eyes widened and whispers spread quickly. It wasn't just any group pulling in. It was a unit of retired Navy SEALs, men who had served together and were in town for a reunion. They were brothers to the core, trained to protect, and when they saw through the diner's windows what was happening to Marissa, they didn't hesitate. The diner door swung open, and in walked a man with a commanding presence. His name was Ethan Cross, broad-shouldered and weathered by years of service. Behind him followed his teammates, men whose quiet confidence filled the room. They weren't loud. They didn't need to be. The moment their boots hit the floor, the atmosphere shifted. The bikers' laughter faltered. Ethan's eyes landed on Marissa, the woman sitting rigidly in the booth, her jacket slightly torn where the biker had yanked it. Recognition flickered in his gaze. He saw not just a woman but a fellow veteran, someone who had given her blood and strength for the same flag he had sworn to defend. He stepped forward slowly, his silence louder than any threat. The biker leader tried to puff up, tried to joke, but his words stumbled when Ethan's men surrounded the booth. The diner was silent, every soul holding their breath. Ethan finally spoke, his voice low and steady, carrying the weight of authority and honor. He told the bikers they had one chance to leave before things turned ugly. His words weren't shouted. They were calm, deliberate, the kind of words only a man who had seen real war could deliver. The bikers hesitated, eyes darting between the SEALs and each other. The bravado that had fueled their cruelty minutes ago now looked like a thin mask cracking apart. The leader muttered something under his breath. But when Ethan's teammate stepped closer, his hand hovering near his belt, the bikers knew the fight wasn't worth it. One by one, they backed away, their laughter gone, their arrogance stripped. They pushed through the diner doors and stormed out to their bikes, engines roaring angrily as they sped away. Marissa sat frozen, her hands trembling slightly. She had spent years being strong, surviving battles, surgeries, and nightmares. But in that moment, seeing men stand up for her when she had been mocked and humiliated, something inside her broke open. Not from weakness, but from the overwhelming reminder that she was not alone. Ethan knelt beside her, his eyes kind but fierce, and told her she was family now. The Seals didn't leave her side until she had finished her meal in peace, the weight of their presence shielding her from every lingering shadow. As the afternoon sun dipped lower, Marissa walked out of the diner with her cane. But this time she wasn't walking alone. The Seals surrounded her, a protective wall of loyalty and respect. Strangers inside the diner wiped their eyes, realizing they had witnessed something extraordinary. Not just an act of defense, but a moment of true brotherhood and humanity. Sometimes the world forgets the sacrifices veterans make, the scars they carry, both visible and invisible. But that day, in a dusty small-town diner, the world was reminded. The bikers had tried to strip a woman of her dignity, but instead, they revealed the strength of a bond that could never be broken. The bond of those who serve, who protect, and who never leave their own behind. If this story touched your heart, please like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to Kindness Corner. Your support helps us spread more stories that inspire kindness, courage, and hope in a world that desperately needs it. And before we close, we have a special request. Leave a comment below and tell us what kindness means to you. Your words might inspire someone else who needs to hear them today. Marissa's story reminds us that even in the darkest moments, we are never truly alone. Kindness, courage, and loyalty can change the ending of any story. And sometimes, when you least expect it, heroes walk through the door.